Wow, what a journey with the book and
is.
what you've been, and the writing and the recording and editing.
The Audible. Well, I don't know anything about the editing, but I hear it's in really good hands.
Yes, yes.
The other bits, yes, it's
Yes.
been fabulous. I'm enjoying it immensely.
Yeah, I think I'm going through, I'm my seventh read through the book now, and I was just looking back through the first chapter, and I love the message around empowerment and what it means to truly be empowered. Because we hear so much of that. Everybody's talking about becoming empowered, or how do you feel empowered within yourself? And
It's a really good point.
yeah.
We do hear a lot about that.
Yeah, we hear a lot about
And people
that.
are interpreting that as being louder and
Yes.
perhaps more critical of others.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to take that anymore. Or
Yes.
how
And sweeping declarations.
absolutism, black and white thinking,
Yeah.
becoming more dogmatic. And when I say people, not everyone, but a lot of people hear empowerment and think, that's right, it's my time. And there's an external focus to it.
Yeah.
Whereas the
absolutely.
empowerment, I think we're tapping into in our community is, okay, where is it within me?
Yeah.
That regardless of what's going on out there, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm more than okay. I can handle this.
Yes.
I feel a deep sense of well-being within me, despite and regardless of that, whatever that is out there. So empowerment, it almost doesn't need a voice except for the one you're listening to within you.
Yeah.
So
love that.
yeah, because, and sometimes it is time to have a voice, but a lot of the times empowerment should just be the silent witness. It's like, how will I engage or orient myself around that noise, drama, scene, family, whatever? And that can be a silent endeavor. In fact, more than half the times, I'd say that would be a healthy approach to empowerment, rather than how do I stand up for myself or sweeping gestures and proclamations about this is how it's going to be from now on and I've changed.
Yeah.
It's a quiet centeredness that amongst that, I'm just going to breathe in, pause, and not allow my emotional reactivity to clog my thinking. And instead of diving in, feeling outraged, feeling a need to express, feeling upset, feeling hurt, and just batting the ball back over the fence again and again and again, I'm just going to pause and notice me in this and see what I can manage in this, what I can influence in this within me, rather than thinking if I influence them or the scene, somehow that will make me feel better.
Yeah.
How can I impact me so I am feeling okay?
Yes.
That they don't have to be different. It doesn't have to be different and I can be okay.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It is. It's tough. And I think it's, because I loved in the introduction, one of the things that you said is you're tired of hearing people say the answer is within. Well, where do I look and how do I find it?
Yeah. Because I looked and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
I think I wrote that in the video.
Yes.
I looked and I felt really doubly as bad. I think I said that in the intro. Because I looked, there was nothing there. And now I got to feel bad because I can't find what I meant to be finding.
Yes.
So now I get to feel bad again.
Yes.
So I was doubling down on my feeling badness.
Yes.
That can be a word. I was like, I must suck.
Yes,
I
completely.
must.
And I think that's what you share in that first chapter is that's the pathway to find the answer within. Because often the message, even though we're talking about the answer being within, we're then looking external still. So
they have to change.
it
has to be different. I'll do it when. Or we put time as the external.
Yeah.
When a certain amount of time has passed, I'll be different then. I'll find the courage when. When we hear ourselves saying the words then and when and they tend to be pretty good taps on the shoulder. You're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah.
You really are. I can remember for years I lived my life. I can't even remember what it was I had to forgive my parents for. I really don't remember. This is ridiculous to even talk about. It just feels like I'm talking about someone else. But I held on to a grudge for years and held it against them. So our relationship was very, very tense for many years. Then one day I thought, they don't even know what I'm sulking about.
Yes.
They're not even aware. They're just living their lives as they should. And I'm making drama up in my head about what they should be doing, could be doing, should have done. We can't change the past. So I just decided, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore and let's see what changes. Everything changed. Everything changed. The whole community came from that one decision. My relationship with my family transformed through that one decision. The book came about because of that one decision. That was many years ago, but just the freedom to stop fighting in my head for what they should be and it should be from my past for me to be okay. They are not going to, and it's not changing. Now, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what I'm going to do now. But at least it stopped the noise.
Yes.
The noise in my head about how things had to be before I'll be okay. Well, none of those things are going to change, and now you still have to be okay. What are you now going to do? And that's how the whole book really is orientated around. The first chapter is setting up, well, if you get rid of all of that and there's just you in a room contemplating how are you going to make it so you feel great about you and you feel a sense of well-being. And this, I like to talk about this bubbling brook of yay. Just, man, this is awesome. Me right now is feeling awesome without any props, without anyone obeying or knowing the rules. Weird, I know, because that was weird for me. And I'm still feeling great. Just be able to sit in a room or just sit under the shade of a tree and just think, yeah, it's good regardless. None of that has to change, transform, be apologized for, be made up for. No one has to change who they are. I can still be feeling awesome, this bubbling brook of yay. And that is the whole journey of the book.
Yeah,
and chapter 1 really just sets up, well, these are the things you're going to need to think about if you're going to even contemplate getting to that internal sense of awesomeness. You know, I call it your awesome life. How do you get to a place where you feel awesome about yourself and your life if you're waiting for things that are beyond your control and influence to do something different? That means you're basically giving your power away from the very beginning. The rest of the journey can't happen. Yes. So the book's very much a hands-on. Would you agree? Having read it nearly as many times as I have, the book's very much a hands-on. You can't read it and feel empowered. It's okay, so I need to do that.
Yes.
And then that. And it's, it's very much a hands-on kind of, I got to hang on and I got to do this.
Yeah, and you've got to take actions. And I think one of the things that I love so much is seeing our members do that. You know, see our members, see the people on the quest, on the Ultimate You Quest journey, as they go through the book, start taking the steps.
Yeah.
And be in a community where they can share the steps that they're taking.
Badly, imperfectly, with flaws, with setbacks, with falling back into old habits, with all the humanity that comes with it. I can't remember if it's in chapter 1, but I do know I do a rant in this book about humanity, about people who say they procrastinate are denying the humanity of themselves. And what do I mean by that? They're procrastinating because they are denying that they will make mistakes. So they're not doing the thing for the fear of that they'll get it wrong, which means they'll be reminded how they're wrong. That's a denial of their own humanity, that somehow they're the exception, that unless they do it perfectly, they won't be prepared to do it. Procrastination is the ultimate, I will deny myself. It is the ultimate. It's why I never coach procrastination. Whenever anybody says, please coach me on procrastination, no, what you want me to coach you on is your humanity. No, I just really put things off. Yes, because you won't face making mistakes, because you fear the shame and the judgment and the put downs that come with that, either from others when you grew up or now you've handed that baton onto yourself. So you don't even know it. It's so locked inside. So rather than face the shame of you not nailing it and maybe looking bad, whatever that means, you're not doing the thing. You won't even consider the steps involved. So I think the book in some ways is remedial balanced with generative. And so, you know, we're always talking coaching about it's got to be generative change. It's got to be where you're heading and what you're building and build on your strengths. But that never worked for me when I started out. When I began, if you told me to focus on my strengths, I literally would have felt like such a fraud. I would have felt, well, I don't have any. So why are you telling me to focus on something? I already felt bad and I already feel bad enough about myself. And now you're telling me to look at my strengths. I used to procrastinate and self-sabotage. I used to blame and justify and make excuses. I got really, really sick, so I didn't have to do much. And then to come along and tell me we're going to do generative work and really show you how to empower yourself. No, you're not, because I really resented a message that told me to focus on my strengths because I felt that I was in no way being validated for where I was at. And I was invisible to that narrative of generational change, generative change. Whereas when I realized through researching the book and through the work we obviously do through the Coaching Institute, that a lot of people in the same position, they need the remedy before they can generate the improvement.
Yes.
We need to hear where you're at. It makes sense based on what's been going on and how you've interpreted it and how you've been taught to define those events and make sense of them. You had to land here. Not trusting your inner voice, procrastinating, self-sabotaging, not feeling you have any strengths, feeling you're not enough, feeling you don't deserve it. Where else could you have landed?
Completely.
Where else could you have landed? And so to come along and say, let's be generative in our, yay, no, stop. One weekend of pumping me up or a message of pumping up, no, I still feel like a fraud. I still feel there's something in me that missed out on what everyone else seemed to have got. So give me the remedy. I call it, get me back to, what do I call it? Get me back to the factory settings.
Yeah.
So when we're born, we're at factory settings. It's like it's all possible and we can add any apps we want, like the Matrix. We can add all the upgrades and upgrades and upgrades. But some of us got installed with some real crap, like some faulty programming. I got some really faulty programming. I don't know about you, but I got really faulty programming. Like that was never designed to give me a great life. And I was running these programs. Like somehow if I did them well enough and hard enough, somehow things will get better.
Would change.
But these programs were on righteousness, on defensiveness, on I'm never going to risk myself for the fear of getting hurt or rejected. People are going to hurt me, so I might as well never get close. I was running really flawed programs. So to tell me to tap into my strengths, what, of being a fraud? Sure. Not helpful. So I needed to learn, and the whole book is based, as you know, on the journey I've had.
Yeah.
I needed to learn how to tap into, well, what is it within me that's really flawed programming? I needed to understand that, recognize it, have a deep awareness of it. So when I recognized it, I knew the shit I was doing. I was running the crap program.
And that awareness is so powerful.
Chapter 1, if you don't have the awareness, the rest of it is not flowing. If you can't see yourself accurately, you're going to keep seeing the world inaccurately. And that pain of seeing the world, the more pain we experience is the more inaccurately we're seeing the world. So the more inaccurately we see the world and the more delusional we are about how the world is meant to be and it's not, the more pain we feel. Chapter 1 is about, well, let's get rid of those delusions. Let's get rid of the magical thinking that goes along with thinking that somehow that's how it's meant to be, but it's never going to be. So the remedy, the remedial work that I've done and that we do now through the programs and through the book is, well, how do we get it so we get rid of the awful programs? Yeah. How do we recognize them? How do we have a deep awareness of them? Not a superficial awareness, but a deep awareness. That's me doing that. That's where that comes from. That's going to get me there. It's not going to work. What am I going to do instead? Then as the book unfolds, it's about installing the programs that can start generating what we want. But until we get rid of some faulty programs, we're running with a virus.
Yes.
And all the results, the gobbledygook that gets printed, you type gobbledygook in, you're getting gobbledygook out. It's not going to write Shakespeare if you type blah, 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 blah. I hope this really works.
Yes.
Righteousness, self-centeredness, procrastination, self-sabotage. Give me a great life. That's not what the printer's going to produce.
Yeah.
It's going to produce literally the same stuff.
Yes.
And isn't it amazing, the more we come from whatever place we come from, the more we keep experiencing that around us. So that's a big part of chapter 1 is, and that part 1, which is about empowerment and getting in touch with your conscious self and getting into your tribal cycle.
Yeah.
Until we have awareness of that, and as long as we're enmeshed in that, we can't elevate ourselves, separate from it, and start differentiating ourselves. So is this a good enough rant the way we're doing?
Yeah.
You happy with this?
Yeah.
Just carry on like this?
Rant.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You'll be able to pick out some good bits from this?
Yes.
Push another button. What would you like?
Yeah.